of things that we're going to be discussing today, more or less. Obviously, we're going to be also adding some other bullshit, just because. But
Just because.
the two main topics is Camille Paglia, kind of the Met, but not quite. We're just gonna be taking a piss out of everyone today. So
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be real with you, I don't think, even though Camille Paglia is getting a lot of like deals to like publish books and other things like that, also people like Lily Pons also get deals to write books. So this doesn't say a lot
about it's not that big of an achievement.
People like Jake Paul, who is probably not even literate, have a book out. So I don't think that's gonna say anything about you as an academic, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think so. And if people
Mm-hmm.
are wondering who Camille Paglia is, she's a quote unquote art critic. But
quote unquote is the most important part here, because if you need context with like some pop culture touchstones, the stoniest of them all would be Jordan. What's his name? Last name? Jordan
Peterson. Oh, she said fancy. Okay. Give me some.
Give me some. Anyway, so
no, seriously, put it to the camera. Give me some.
Sip it up. Because he is our, how do you say that in English? Do you have compatriot in your language? No, that means like from the same country. Basically, we're like from the same country, the same nation.
Yeah,
and we unfortunately are with Jordan Peterson. It's very unfortunate for all of us. It's unfortunate that this motherfucker was even let into University of Toronto, but I mean, what are we expecting as sworn-in Canadians who promise to protect the Queen, not the King?
I could care less about him.
Yeah, bitch, be for real. Okay? Now, as sworn-in Canadians, we have this duty to talk about Jordan Peterson in very, very bad terms. Be nasty, as one might say. And, you know, him and Camille Paglia have a lot in common, I think. Because, honestly, like, you will see them, they had a talk that they gave together, kind of like a conversation / lecture type of deal.
Ugh.
I have not seen the entire thing because I could not. And it's mostly because I genuinely, I'm gonna tell you guys, if you've ever, if you read Camille, like her work in general, or if you are hearing about her in your art circles, change the circle, because you're not in an art circle.
Yeah.
No one in the art circles take her seriously, actually. It's kind of the same thing as being a philosopher and taking fucking Jordan Peterson seriously. You would have to shoot yourself, honestly.
Yeah. She is probably, if you hear her name brought up in conversation, run.
Mm-hmm. It's the most ridiculous type of shit. Like, you know, we talked about it with my assistant before to like just kind of get ourselves going on this topic. And I brought up the fact that to me, she sounds like any other person who thinks that coming up with a metaphor or hearing a metaphor makes something true. And this is my biggest fucking pet peeve with people in general. And I had fights about it when I was fucking 16 in high school with a bunch of guys.
I literally am preparing and pulling up her stupidest quotes.
I have a list. This is basically baby's first art criticism, baby's first art theory. This is something that you would put in a pop-up book, you know, not something that you would put in an actual peer review.
Not even worth pop-up book. I was gonna say this is shit you write on Wattpad, but it's not even. There's better Wattpad writers out there. Like, it's so bad.
No, Wattpad is so much better, because the thing is, like, dude, I don't know. Let me
give one good example though of a quote that she said. Okay, This is crazy. Oh, but backstory about how we got to this topic. So I went to like a bookstore near my house and with my partner, and it's like they have a lot of like art criticism books, which is why I like going there. And there was like a dollar section. In the dollar section, there was her book, Camille Paglia's book, and I really just liked the title so much. I want to rip it off somehow. Her cheese bread. So the book is called Glittering Images. Like, fuck, I love that title. It's lit. Read the book. I'm not even kidding you. The introduction, already I was like, holy shit, this is gonna suck so much balls.
And you didn't know who she is, right?
No, I had no idea who she.
Because no one talks about her seriously or at all in actual academic circles. That's why I was like, who the fuck are you talking about? But she's like kind of like a pop culture version of an art critic. Mm-hmm. People who get a hard on about anyone who's a minority, hating on their minority, are the ones who would be really into her, you know?
Yeah, I could just tell that she was like one of those girls that was like, I'm not like other girls. Like, a boy's girl. She's not a girl's girl. You could just tell. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But anyways, here's a quote by her, just so you guys can get a taste of how idiotic she is. If civilization had been left in female hands, we would still be living in grass huts.
Yeah. Listen,
baby girl.
There's a lot of like conversation about that specific quote too, of people who are just like kind of trying to get into critical theory, but what they have at their fingertips are things that kind of come up on the internet when you look it up, which would be idiotic shit. But unfortunately, honestly, we need better kind of public and popular critics pushed forward, just so we have somebody who's not like absolutely brain dead, like Jordan Peterson, leading people into thinking that just because they are participating in conversations that could be like, for example, unsavory or really like spicy, that they are kind of like contributing to critical theory. Like I really hope that we have more pop culture type of theorists who are going to be leading people into the right pipeline in terms of actually getting to know what academic work is, instead of assuming that it's just saying nonsense, okay? But with this quote, guys are just driven by testosterone, so they need to go beyond the nature, but women just have this special connection to nature. I fucking hate this stupid shit. Whenever people say this nonsense, I'm like, there's no special connection to nature except for like with birth. And it's like, I don't think that it's kind of conceptually sound, to be honest. Whenever you talk to people, this turns into a spiritual stupid ass conversation way too quickly to actually have anything like functioning properly in the material world. I'm sorry, but it's really dumb to pull any hormone out of the biology book and assign properties that are specifically about characteristic of human behavior and assign that to it. Because we are a lot more complex than that, even in terms of, even if you just don't even believe in cognitive function being super separate from the body, because it isn't really. We do have a lot of connections when it comes to the brain. That's why whenever people get dementia or they have some other issues with their brain, their personalities drastically change, or they, for example, start acting like they would never act before, you know, doing things that are unthinkable and whatever for that specific person. So there are biological connections. But whenever someone whose line of work is in the theory, and specifically not biological theory, not even scientific theory, but liberal arts theory, and she pulls out a random fucking hormone and starts assigning characteristics to it, as in, it makes men do this and do that and whatever. Yeah, sure, it is a hormone that's connected to aggression in one way or another. Sure. The same thing as oxytocin is connected to feeling pleasure or connection or love. Sure. However, it's a lot more complex than that, because we have all of those hormones in our bodies and they all react and counter-react with each other in different types of ways. It's really idiotic, just on a scientific level, to pull out one fucking hormone and think that the entirety of a personality would be hinging on that. You are an idiot. You are clearly not even understanding the basics of biology, and it's just embarrassing because you're an adult. That's the thing. You don't even have to have any special education. You don't need to know anything about biology to actually understand that this is dumb.
Yeah. I think like my biggest, from just like reading which, by the way, I could not finish the book, guys. I'm sorry. Like, I just couldn't do it. But from reading some of the excerpts that she's written, and like a lot of her other comments that are like kind of going against like the people who are criticizing her, I think the most stupid thing about her is that she'll always go on the defense and be like, why does everyone think that because I'm criticizing and like contemplating the things that are wrong with liberalism that I'm conservative? She's like, I'm very left wing, but I am just commenting that the left wing isn't perfect and blah blah blah, which is like, and she's like, yeah, people are so stupid. Like, people are so stupid to think that just because I'm criticizing liberalism doesn't mean I'm not on the left, which, like, okay,
that makes no sense, dude. That makes no sense to begin with.
It's that's the thing though. No one's complaining about her not being a liberal. It's more just like the things that she says are actually fundamentally against any type of left-wing thought. Like,
yeah, the thing is, I'm complaining about it. I'm sure I'm complaining about it because I'm like, bitch, you can be serious. But I say that about everyone who is on the right of the political spectrum in general. Like, let's be for real. But it's just my personal bias. However, when people say things like that, I'm like, first and foremost, just from this rhetoric, and I did see it, by the way, too. Like, I definitely saw her saying that shit. I was like, I'm sorry, lady, but right now, the way that you're speaking about this, you're speaking about this binary of left and right on the right side of the political spectrum. You're not even talking about actual leftism. What are you talking
literally
about? And the reason why, like, I was kind of confused about that. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why is she like this? And there's no, like, very direct quote of her, or like of somebody, you know, calling her a Yahtzee, but I will do it for you. For you people, she clearly is. Because the thing is, for everyone who doesn't understand, this is not just her opinions, because it is her opinions, obviously, but it's also on top of the fact that she clearly doesn't want to, for example, like when she tries to criticize tyranny, she brings in Stalin. She loves to talk about Stalin. It's crazy. She loves to call everyone a fucking Stalin of feminism or whatever. And it's really something, especially when you're claimed to be a leftist. It's like, okay, you would have a more nuanced relationship even if you don't like the guy. You would have a lot more of a nuanced relationship, and you would probably, when talking about tyranny or like fascist behavior, would bring up Hitler before you would bring up him. But sure. It's just, there's a lot of things that are unsaid by her. It's kind of like, you know, when you listen to a person, you're like, just by everything that you say and things that you don't say, I can already assume, because it's just such like textbook behavior, you know? And also, when I went to see her, like, just basic facts about her life, because I have seen her, like random clips, for example, or something like that, when I was like doing research into people who I don't like, who are like on the right or whatever. She's kind of like adjacent to them, but I didn't know her regular like life stats, let's say. So I went to see, and what do you think? As per usual, Wikipedia is listing things about her family and things that Americans assume to be a good thing, which I need to come in and like disappoint you guys real quick. When someone says that their parent was fighting in the World War II, okay? I need you to check quickly.
What side?
And her parent, her dad, is an Italian man. It's kind of like looking at Ayn Rand, that bitch who's like supposedly Russian. And she's saying things like she was the daughter of the guy who owned all the how do you say that?
Pharmaceuticals?
Thank you, pharmaceuticals. I'm saying it in Russian.
No,
actually, I don't know why.
I think that's correct still too.
Yeah, the pharmaceutical production, like the factories that produce actual medicine and stuff like that, in the entirety of, at the time, the empire, her parents owned it, right? And then she went on to become the darling of the West because she was criticizing Bolsheviks for taking her parents' shit and whatever. And the thing is, she was allowed to go to university in St. Petersburg as she was going there. And she came back and refused to sit in the same classes as the peasants or ex-slaves. And which were also like, we have a different history there. We also had like Like, it was white people owning white people, so it was not like racially the same as here, but it's still like it's the same type of principle, you know? Like, she decided she didn't want to even be in the same room as them. So because of that, she got deported. Whenever you hear that someone is like framing something like, oh, they were fighting in the war, which side? Quickly. Whenever someone's trying to say that they were running away from a regime, which regime? Why were they running? What did they do or didn't do? Because sometimes they were running for good reasons, sure. Sometimes they were running just because they didn't want to deal with the change in the country, for example. They didn't want to deal with the, you know, the tumultuous time of like 10 years of civil war and whatever, which is also fair. And sometimes there are motherfuckers like Ayn Rand who, honestly, disgusting. Okay? So with Paglia, I saw that and I was like, okay, well...
She's also really obsessed with Revenge of the Sith, like Star Wars and like Dune, and I'm concerned for what reason she's into both those movies. Which side, girl? It's not looking like the Fremen.
Yeah, see, like, the thing is, like, a lot of things that she says, also just her beliefs are very, very just fashy, you know, like, it's just the truth. Like, I can't do much about that, but...
It gets me every time that she's so, like, vocal about being... She's like, I'm a feminist. But then she says shit like, women need to stop playing victim. She said this in the book, that women need to stop playing victim, and also they need to, this is not verbatim, but she essentially said we need to stop complaining. We need to, like, shut the fuck up and start grinding. I'm like, dude, like, not you saying you're feminist and then being like, you know what? We actually need to stop blaming men and making them...
poor man.
Yeah, we need to stop. We actually need to take that burden.
Think of the man.
Yeah, we actually need to take that burden and just, like, suppress it and keep moving. This is for...
No redistribution of wealth either, nothing. And you know what? Listen, the thing is, okay, so I'm gonna read a few quotes for you, and every quote, for example, this quote, this line of thinking is so fundamental to anyone who has a very fascist line of thinking or white supremacist line of thinking. And this quote is not even about white supremacy, it's not even about race, but I'm gonna tell you right away that this is the way that you can tell that someone is not a good, you know, person to be around, because if you don't align, because, like, obviously I assume that you don't align it since you're listening to us and you're not, like, already foamy at the mouth. Yeah. So
and if you're hate watching right now, you can't see me.
You can't see it, guys, but she flipped. Anyway, so the quote is, a woman simply is, but a man must become. Masculinity is risky and elusive. It is achieved by a revolt from a woman, and it is confirmed only by other men. There's a couple of things that are true in this statement. For example, the fact that masculinity is very much only confirmed or denied by other men. Yeah. Sure. This is very much a social standing type of thing. It's a thing that you achieve through behavior. It's not a thing that you are born with, but it's the same thing with women though. We're also designing our own behavior, tailoring it to be woman-esque, to be seen as a woman. This is just the basics of art theory, by the way, too, so it's kind of crazy. But in this statement, you can clearly see that she is defining someone's identity that is, like, for example, masculinity or their gender or whatever, as something that one group is supposed to define by revolting from their original state and by kind of basically rising above it, like being risky and elusive and trying to catch it and do it, whatever. It's very much the same shit as this thinking of savages versus people who are civilized. Yeah. This is very much the same fucking thinking, like one to one. This is the reason why when people build yeah, no, literally, this is the reason why so many people require so much patriotism to be fed to them to feel a cultural, like, unity, especially in the West. It's because they actually define themselves by things that they are not. The white culture, in quotations, that is here in North America is defined not by things that they do and things that they like, but by things that they are not. They don't dance like savages. They only do, like, a specific type of thing, right? They don't act a certain way. They don't participate in old traditions, but old traditions are only seen as old when it's brown people doing it. When it's them doing something fucked up, like marrying a child, they think it's kind of like up for a debate or whatever, and up for your personal freedoms or some shit. Now, there's very much the same line of thinking there, and I know that this might seem kind of like a bit of a stretch because we're talking about gender in one and culture and race in another, but it very much comes from the same place of thinking that you can define yourself or thinking of yourself as just things that you are not, genuinely. Like, I am not like these people here, you know, who came from somewhere or whatever, or those people who used to be slaves or whatever the hell. Like, they constantly define themselves by things that they are not. And here, she is clearly stating that masculinity needs to be defined, yada yada. And she has a weird preference for men, especially for a woman who's a lesbian. Also, girl, did you not hear or something about who they put in gas chambers? You'd be on the list. I don't know what to tell you.
I know.
Just by liking coochie, you'd be on the list. Are you new here? I genuinely don't understand.
She is truly a walking contradiction. She just sprinkles in a little bit of juxtaposition. Fucking, I don't know, what else? What else annoying jargon is there? Anthropocene. Like, fucking...
She's just part of the landscape of the Anthropocene.
Oeuvre. Girl.
The next quote, girl, made me laugh so hard. I almost choked, okay? I had to send it to my assistant because I was like, I need her to see this. The quote is, if you live in rock and roll, as I do,
this one's so good.
You see the reality of sex, of male lust and women being aroused by male lust. It attracts women. It doesn't repel them.
You know who this is sounding like? The most iconic comment queen. If you know, you know. I wonder how
women like sex.
Raw. Hey queen, where are you at?
Where you at, bitch? The thing is, like, it's not, like, she's talking about groups of people. This is what's weird about this, okay? Like, saying that someone is aroused by someone's lust for them is not that controversial, especially when those people are, like, in a relationship where they like each other or they're in a sexual relationship with each other. Yeah, obviously. I think that's pretty normal, actually. But the fact that she says that it is as a collective, like, you would be aroused by any man lusting after you, is insane. It's diabolical, actually. I honestly don't know what it is exactly that made her so unaware, because the thing is, like, any woman, and it doesn't matter how attractive or unattractive you are, you have experienced unwanted attention and unwanted sexual attention. And you all of us know, that it doesn't feel good. It makes you feel gross, it makes you feel icky.
Yeah, you literally have to shower your whole body in hot water to get rid of the feeling. We've all been there. We've all been there.
Yeah. It's not news to anybody. So it's really crazy of her to say that. But what made me laugh in this quote is the beginning. If you live in rock and roll as I do, are you Marilyn Manson? And I do mean that in a negative way. I do mean it as an insult. Because God knows he's a motherfucker, but it's just so diabolical to say something like this. If you live in rock and roll, I'm sorry.
She thinks she's so edgy. That's what I mean. I swear to God, she is literally giving that type of girl. And I'm not blaming girls. I'm blaming men for setting up this system. But, like, she is literally one of those people that, like,
one of the boys.
She just, like, such a woman hater.
Yeah, she will just say anything, and it's just the truth, you guys. It's just the truth.
It's like
dude.
It's like one of those people who, like, are just, like, diabolical and, like, internally just a gross person that they could never get along with other girls. So they're like, you know what? These men will get me because they're also gross and diabolical. And now she's like, she's like the it girl of their little fucking skeevy ass rodent pack. Like, that's what that girl.
Rodent pack is diabolical.
That's what that girl. What's her face? Fuck, the Red Scare girl. What's her name?
Dasha Nikrasa.
Yeah, Dasha. That's what Dasha's gonna be when she's older.
Oh yeah, no, she already is. I feel like they were the same person. They were literally made out of the same clay.
Yeah.
It's like an Adam and Eve situation. Like Paglia was created and then God ripped out her rib and created Dasha.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Welcome back, Camille
Dude.
Paglia.
Welcome back, Camille. Next quote. It is capitalist America that produced the modern independent woman. Never in history have women had more freedom of choice in regard to dress, behavior, career, and sexual orientation. You must be kidding me and every other fellow American, for you at least, that has to deal with your kooky ass laws. And the fact that she doesn't even know that all of the constitutional rights that men had, women got in 1917 in Russia and in every other Soviet country at the time, which I believe that at that point it wasn't all the republics, it was maybe like 4 or 5 or something like that in 1917. The fact that she doesn't know that you could get an abortion at that point, it was legal. You could own property, get any jobs. It was illegal to discriminate against you. All of this shit. And obviously there were moments where it was less or more adhered to, where laws were changing and whatever during the run of Soviet Union. But the fact that she doesn't know the basics like this is insane to me. Bitch, you couldn't have a banking account on your own without your husband or your father signing off on it until 1974.
Like, that's not that
long ago. What are you yapping about? You couldn't have an abortion. You still can't in all states. What are you talking about?
Girl.
You still don't even have rights to your own body, let alone rights above that.
Girl, we still have...
Are you insane?
Women are still ingesting fucking poison every day if you're taking contraceptives. Like, there's no investment. Because
they don't want to like research it and do
don't
better.
Care.
They don't give a fuck. They think that you should be paying for it with your health if you want to have control.
It's like she only got one thing right about that statement. Okay, yeah, now we can wear different clothes, and that's where it ends. Like,
literally. Not even, bitch. Like, just look at how much people get, like, how little rights you have in court if you were wearing something revealing when something happened to you.
Yeah, that's so true. All of it is just an illusion.
Anyway, another quote that also I sent to Peterson was, for all the feminist jabber about women being victimized by fashion. As we're talking about this, I just wanted to add this. It is men who most suffer from conventions of dress. Every day, a woman can choose from an army of personae, femme to butch, and can cut or curl her hair or adorn herself with staggering variety of artistic aids. But despite the 60s experiments and peacock dress, no man can rise in the corporate world today outside the entertainment industry with long hair or makeup or purple velvet suits. I want to beg your pardon. First and foremost, not a single woman dresses as extravagantly as she describes in the corporate world either.
Girl, literally. What?
The dress code exists for both, and the dress code for women is a lot stricter, by the way. Now, I genuinely, like, what world is she living in? That this is her reality. I genuinely just want to know, because I understand what she's saying in terms of, like, you will be more judged as a guy for, like, long hair, for example, somewhere in the 80s or 90s, no, not 80s, but 90s, you know?
Maybe.
Then women would be, for, like, a kind of, like, this short hair. Not fully short, but this, like, like, whatever. However, to be honest, like, it's been fashionable since 1920, so it's not even, like, that much of a conversation. But on top of it all, even then, a man, if he was dressed in something provocative, would still have the jury seeing him as a human being who was assaulted. If he would have been assaulted in court, a woman would be challenged on that and maybe even would get basically reprimanded for it by the decision of the court. So I genuinely, like, we need to be talking about the material reality of those people, not your imaginary ideas of who would be seen as more cool or less cool or more desirable or less desirable based on clothes. We're not talking about that shit. When you're talking about things like this, most of the time people, when they're complaining about something, they're complaining about things that are actually affecting them in such huge ways, like court systems, their education systems, jobs, income, all of that stuff. when it comes to corporate world, nobody can dress like that. Let's start there. And when it comes to everything else, a man would still be taken more seriously. If a woman were to dress flamboyantly or really extravagantly for work in any industry, except for entertainment industry, she would also not be taken seriously.
It's actually insane that she specifically was like, men don't benefit from fashion. Like if a guy, God forbid, a guy wore a velvet suit or had long hair. Like, girl, you were born in the 40s. Did you forget about the 70s? Was for some reason were you not there when every man had long hair?
Well, that's why she said like 60s experiments in peacock dress. No man can rise in corporate world. But why are you bringing in corporate world? No one can rise in corporate world by doing something crazy. You're supposed to wear a suit, a man's suit or a woman's suit.
Dude, it's even hard for women to, no matter what you look like.
Next one is old school feminism, coveting social power, is blind to women's cosmic sexual power.
What does that even mean? Huh?
Whenever any bitch brings in cosmic sexual power or divine feminine, I want to smack them. I swear to God, and the thing is, I have said that before, I think somewhere, and someone was like commenting, like someone who was like watching me, whatever. They were like, Lisa, like, it's just like, there is something, like, whatever. They were basically like disagreeing with me, but didn't want to like disagree because they did watch me before and agree with a lot of other things, which is like fair enough. But girl, I'm gonna tell you right away, that's bullshit. And it is just another version of fascist bullshit. It's the same thing as being into holistic health, but not actually, it's not practical. It's not like you're actually just thinking about like, well, they're not solving the root of the problem or whatever. You're actually thinking that the root of the problem can be solved by not scientific ways. That's when you're lost.
Yeah, I would, like, honestly, and because I have a lot of people around me, well, actually, yeah, a lot of people around me who are like really into that spiritual stuff. We're not, dude, do what you want to do. If you want to have crystals in your house and like do all that stuff, like that's fine. Like no one's hating on, like, if you want to be spiritual, you just have to really be careful with that type of content and how much of like what exactly you're ingesting, because it is true, like so much of that shit is actually the opposite of what you think it is. Like I feel like it's made people selfish, and also this like divine spirituality, femininity, like, girl,
it's in the same vein as people who are like anti-vax. And it's very much in the same vein. It's different little offshoots of it, but it's the same fucking vein.
Yeah, I just feel like it's this idea of like, oh yeah, I can create, my whole goal in life is to create the perfect world for me and not think about anyone else.
Yeah, but also on top of it all, it's like, it's a lot of incongruity, a lot of like mental gymnastics that they have to do to actually live in the world with themselves. Because the fact of the matter is, girl, if you don't believe in vaccines, but you get Botox, you're dumb.
Yeah, it's just like too many contradictions. And also, and guys, we're talking about like those people who are fucking extreme about it, okay? Like, I don't think there's,
of course,
I don't think
I like a little bit of spirituality here and there.
Yeah.
I like a crystal that someone gifted me, for example, because it's like supposed to bring you luck or something like that. I like a little bit of that here and there. It does not mean that I'm gonna be literally forcing it down everyone's throat or thinking that this is the way that we should be leading the way without any scientific due diligence
or any researched anything. What I will say about it is, a lot of the people who are like hyper spiritual, putting it down my throat around me, are people who are neutral ass bitches. Like, they use it as an excuse to not educate themselves on anything, to not have a stance on anything, and kind of to like it's like the gratefulness thing we always talk about. They just use it to like alleviate themselves from like any type of consequence or contradiction or guilt that they feel.
Yeah.
So that's,
you don't have to examine why your worldview doesn't actually fit in with your experience. You don't have to think about why your worldview is actually harmful for you or others, because you can just swat it away by saying something dumb. And it's genuinely, it's so frustrating. It's one of my pet peeves as well.
It's so, I hate a neutral ass bitch.
I hate a neutral ass bitch too. If you have a soul, you take a stance, even when it comes to fucking choosing whether to have pancakes or waffles that morning. Bitch, live. Live a little. I don't know what to tell you.
Seriously, how are you going to fucking fathom the fucking stars and the moon, and you can't even fathom what's going on this earth that you're in right now? Huh? Why are you
genuinely, honestly.
Why are you trying to understand space when you can't even understand where you are at right now?
It's like whenever like any person hears the word communism and starts shaking in their boots.
Yeah, quaking.
But then but it's also like usually like the religious people, and then they explain to you what heaven is like, and it's basically a monolith society where everyone just gets what they need and gives what they can.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, bitch, are you hearing yourself? Like, before anyway, next quote. The male orientation of classical Athens, is that how you pronounce it in English?
Athens?
Yeah, okay, Athens, was inseparable from its genius. Athens became great not despite, but because of its misogyny.
I'm gonna have to walk out.
She's walking out the set, guys. She's walking off set.
Sorry, I'm literally gonna have to pop my fucking anti-anxiety
pills. Pop your pills,
yeah,
bitch.
I'm not even kidding, I'm doing it.
The fact that she calls herself a feminist is something that, you know, whenever people say shit like that, I'm like, you know, words have meaning. You know, there's like inherent definitions to words that we use. That's why we use them. That's why we have things like language. That's why we can communicate with each other. It's because we decided collectively that words have meaning, bitch. Like, you can't just say, it's kind of like people being like not understanding that just someone calling themselves a what is it? What did they call themselves? Nazis? Like, they said that they were some kind of socialist, right? Just because they said it does not mean that
they are.
They actually are, because you have to look at the actions, and you have to look at the points that they believe in, their ideology. Their ideology is not compatible with anything leftist. Even honestly, half of fucking right-wing shit is not even fitting in with them either. And whenever I talk to people about this, I'm like, you can't be for real. Like, you have to think a bit more, just in general, honestly. And I genuinely, like, you can't just say that something is blue, for example, when it's red, and just kind of expect that it's fine, just because you called it that. You cannot call yourself a feminist and say that Athens became great, that's the word that she used, not despite, but because of its misogyny. That's so insane to say.
She's so fucking crazy. Dude, I hope fucking Athena comes for her ass.
If they're real, I sure hope they do. But at the same time, Greek gods, Roman gods, they were all fucked.
They were all fucked, huh? Fucking
weird ass rapists. I hope it's crazy.
I hope Sophie's fucking soul, Sophie the producer, she comes back.
Why Sophie?
Because she was living in Greece and she died in Greece.
Yeah.
In Athens.
Oh, you want her to take care of that? But Athens today didn't do nothing. It was Paglia. Get her. She's been kind of saying a lot of things that are disrespectful or kind of against the trans community. As far as I understand, that's how I kind of interpreted it. However, she also stated multiple times that she thinks she wanted to be a boy her entire life.
Yeah.
And like that she thought when she was growing up that she like really like she was upset that she couldn't be physically a boy, but then she was like, I technically, like, she literally called herself transgender.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And then she says that she doesn't like, she says a bunch of offensive shit to transgender people. It's really, like, genuinely, sometimes it feels like she's just saying shit to say shit just because she wants to get a reaction of you going, what? And the thing is, she thinks that when people react like that to her, when they go, what? She thinks that it's them being like mind blown, or they're like,
it's her thinking so rock and roll.
Their walls being crushed, you know, their ideas, that their morality being questioned, or whatever. In reality, it's just a bunch of people who think rationally, looking at her and going, you can't just say that black and white are the same. You can't just say that red and blue are the same. You can't just say that yellow and green are the same fucking color, unless you're colorblind.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way in hell you could say this shit, you know, and like actually genuinely mean it. Like, she's just not logically sound, and she genuinely thinks that it's not logic that people are questioning, but the fact that they're just like mind blown, they're just like thrown off.
Yeah.
They haven't expected someone to question their thinking so directly. Oh my god. Like, genuinely, I fucking hate that about people, dude.
Yeah, she actually thinks that she is some kind of philosophical god. Like, I just broke the glass ceiling of what you can think about society or how you can think about society. Like, I'm that woke. Like, girl, you just stupid.
But not even woke, because she like really hates anything woke, I guess.
But like,
it's just the fact that she defended, I can't even like, I don't even know where to start, but it's like a specific thing. Actually, I should read about it to you because it's a little bit hard to understand without it being like written down, I guess. But she changed her mind about it. But even if you change your mind about it, I think it's a little weird that you have supported at any point. But she supported the North American Men/Boy Love Association, or NAMBLA. It's a pedophilia and pederasty advocacy organization in the United States. It works to abolish age of consent laws, criminalizing adult sexual involvement with minors, and campaigns for the release of men who have been jailed for sexual contacts with minors that did not involve what it considers coercion. I have also seen some other critics who also sometimes were on the same side, sometimes they had their disagreements with Paglia, but I saw some other people who were also critics and also claimed that they were feminists, also supporting that, but from a perspective of children's rights, which it just makes sense. The thing is, children don't go through puberty until they're 12 to 13 years old at the earliest fully. That means that even at 12, 13 years old, or not even fully, I think that fully is probably like at least 15, right? Even those that are young, like early birds, let's say that way, right? Or like, not early birds, is that what it's called? No. Early bloomers, right?
Yeah. Early bird. That's so awesome.
even in that case, I think there's only like 3 years until they're 18, or a year until they're 16, where sometimes in some provinces, some not provinces, but what do they call states?
Yeah.
They have like 16 years old as like age of consent and stuff like that, right? So why do you need to have this access, right? This is what I don't understand, even logically. Even if I take away all of my moral ideas about it, that like all of my moral apprehensions about it and whatever, right? I still don't think that it logically makes any fucking sense. There are so many people that are within your pool as an adult, legal pool, let's say it that way. Obviously there are some other like moral other things involved in it, but obviously like legally speaking. So the fact that they're that pressed about it is really creepy to me. And I saw her and another feminist also talking about it, which is like, immediately I'm like, you're not a feminist if part of your advocacy, if it's not part of your advocacy to advocate for higher ages of consent, like 18 at the very least. Because the thing is, when you are 16, even in places where you're supposed to be 18 to consent or whatever the hell, you could still be having sexual relationship with people who are within certain amount of years below or above.
Yeah, it's 4 years below.
This is for adults who are older. This is not for kids and whatever they're doing, whatever they want to be doing. So this is why I find it so disgusting. It's because this is very specific to the interests of the adult in this case.
Yeah, exactly.
And the laws around it protect kids who are more than 2 years younger than the adult in the equation. So if you're 18 and your girlfriend, boyfriend are 16, you could be dating. But if they are 15, 14, you can't. And I think it's totally fine. I don't think anyone in their right mind would be dating someone that much younger than them in that age bracket anyway. It's very suspicious for people to frame it especially as a children's or kids like legal rights violation to have those restrictions. Not a single kid would be that hellbent, okay? Because the thing is, they don't even have the ability to be awake, let's say, sexually awakened before they went through puberty fully.
Right.
That means that the window of them between the time that they actually start to actually have their own desires in sexual realm and the period when they become an adult, that period is quite short anyway. So it's really weird that they are that hell-bent on having relationships with kids that don't even have, like, physically don't have the ability to participate in it.
It's
in a way where they would be the initiators because of their desire, because they don't have it fully yet. It's just biologically not how it works. You can't talk about, yes, there's like psychological, because I did go to some psychology like classes and whatever when I was, because I needed to fulfill my science requirement. And yes, I know that children start experimenting or whatever the hell at a very young age. They aren't sentient when it comes to it yet.
Yeah.
They're very much doing random shit and they don't know what it entails yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why people have these restrictions, because even though, yes, they could be participating in it, it's very much not a sentient type of deal. It's not something that they're choosing to do in a very clear state of mind where they understand what's going on, because they are just too young.
Yeah. It's a lot more about exploring biology than it is actually, like, again, they're not sentient.
A full formed desire that they're acting on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very different. And even if they would have had those desires, they could find somebody their own age to have those desires enacted on without some adult, some creepy ass man involving himself in this stupid ass thing. And again, the fact that she was talking positively about it is definitely connected to her obsession with Roman Empire and with the Athens.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. I know that this bitch thinks that because of it.
Yeah.
Once again, when you're young, by the way, when I was younger, when I was like 16, for example, I wouldn't know this when reading about her, because I wouldn't have the cultural context or the years of randomly stumbling upon information here and there while I was reading random shit, because you need that background, those years specifically. You cannot fit as much information into 16 years as you can 24, 25 years, 70 years, whatever. So you just have more context as an adult to put these things in perspective. So that's why I'm telling you guys, like, if you are younger, you will be able to point it out quicker than when I was younger, because I was not aware of the fact that people who are obsessed with the Roman Empire or with Athens would have a weird fascination that is way too positive when it comes to, like, eugenics, pederasty, and other things like that. Okay? And pederasty specifically, as far as I understand, is like between a man and a young boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is very much a problem, not a gay problem, okay? Just to make sure that people understand me correctly. Because in gay relationships, I would assume you're also two adults, okay? So this is not a problem. The problem is specifically about someone who is not fully formed in terms of understanding their actions, understanding what it's gonna do to them in the future. Because every time there's some kid who says that they're okay with this or whatever, they grow up and they're like, I just didn't know.
Yeah, I will never, like, the fact that that organization exists is extremely disturbing and scary.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all gonna come for me being like, free speech. No free speech. How about gun to the head? Like,
yeah, the thing is, you can say whatever you want, bitch. But you're not just saying things. You want things changed. You want laws changed.
Yeah.
You're not just saying your opinion or trying to have this thought experiment.
I don't even want that.
You clearly I don't even want that. But in general, like, this is a lot more serious than just having a conversation. Whenever people bring up like free speech, I'm like, no one told you can't just say it into the ether.
Yes.
The problem is that you're trying to do something about it.
Like, you are you're a danger to society. Like,
yeah. Anyway, so another quote from her: "Education has become a prisoner of contemporaneity. It is the past, not the dizzy present, that is the best door to the future." First and foremost, education has never been the dizzy present. Education, which involves history, language, other things like that, is always something that is created, made into a syllabus. It is something that is structured, And yes, that takes time, bitch, and there's gonna be a lag behind the contemporary world. What are you talking about? Does that even need to be said? Whenever I read this type of shit, I'm like, yeah, you used the word contemporaneity. Now what? You're still a dumb bitch? Like, I genuinely cannot with this type of people. It's genuinely so annoying. Like, they just think that if they use a word that's like newly trending in the art circles, then all of a sudden everyone's gonna actually think that they have something good to say, or something interesting to say, or something that they even thought about to say.
I think it's the scary thing is that there are a lot of people who think like,
yeah, that's why that's why we need to make fun of them.
Yeah.
I think that from now on we need to have a section in this podcast where we make fun of someone who is getting actual recognition from universities, or getting actual recognition through like getting book publishing deals and stuff like that, because you bitches are rampant, and the problem with you is that you got where you are because of what your parents have done, because of some fucked up shit, or because you're saying things that those fucked up people like, and you need to be humbled.
And also, by the way, Camille Paglia was a literal university professor for a long time. Shout out to the students, her students, who got her fired. That's
fuck it up, actually.
That's
good on you.
That's real rock and roll.
Yeah, because actually we talked about it too with my assistant, where I said that, you know, it's really hard, especially in your bachelor degree, and especially in your first couple of years, to have enough context, especially if you're going into something that is not your family's kind of traditional realm. Like, for example, if you are in an arts family and you go into sciences, it's going to take you longer to like grab some basics here and there, because you don't have them, as some people who grew up in an arts family would just naturally pick them up while they're growing up. It's kind of a thing that I experienced when I was in a professor's class, and I was like, I actually liked her until we had our like disagreement, which was over Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, and it was about also Jackson Pollock, because I genuinely don't think he's that exceptional at all. I actually dislike him quite a bit because of how dumb the entirety of abstract expressionism is. My statement on it is the fact that it's just abstract art that they really, really wanted to make American, and it doesn't make any sense. Just be with the movement, because you don't have differences in terms of your theory. What's so difficult? We used to do this all the time when different people from different types of nationalities would have the same direction and would name it the same thing, you know, like we kind of like exchanged this name because someone already came up with it, right? No, they needed to come up with abstract expressionism just so they can like create this illusion of having a more free abstract art, as if art and abstract art isn't free already. Whatever, it's fucking idiotic. In any case, I had disagreements with her, and the thing is, back then, because of how well she spoke, because of how like huge her lexicon was, just because of how engaging her delivery was, I was like, this bitch knows what's up, you know? And I would listen to her and I would be like, okay, she actually makes Pollock sound interesting. However, I was like, every single statement that she said afterwards, I would be thinking about it and be like, that literally sounds the same as abstract art. What's the like, I just don't understand why they're trying to make it into an actual movement when you don't have enough theory to actually base it on. And dude, what I realized is that later on, when I was looking back at it, I was like, that girl literally showed us, that was actually that class where she showed us Walter Benjamin's work on the mechanical reproduction or whatever.
Yeah.
And excluded the part that connected it to fascism. And I didn't even know that it was about that. And I thought it was just about the copying of the artwork. So back then I thought, ooh, this is an interesting idea of depreciating on the art. And is it actually being depreciated if it's being copied and other things like that? To how much I actually understood it when I read it in its entirety on my own, with more historical background of where that critic was coming from. She did not she thought it was irrelevant to bring it in.
Of course
and now
it's always
it makes sense why she loves Picasso, why she loves Pollock, why she removes that last part from Walter Benjamin's essay, even though it's the most important part. It all makes sense. Suddenly I'm fucking like just so shocked, because I realize how fundamentally different our opinions on everything is, but I didn't realize it back then. I thought she was pretty cool because of how she presented herself and because I didn't have the contextual ideas, or not ideas, but the context of the entirety of art world painted in, at least in broad strokes, to actually see what the fuck she's talking about. Yeah. Then she said, another quote, "And I found in my study that history is cyclic. And everywhere in the world, you'll find this pattern in ancient times, that a culture begins to decline. You have an efflorescence of transgender phenomena. That is a symptom of cultural collapse." First and foremost, no, that's not true. The transgender people didn't just spike in numbers at random points in history, bitch. That's not how it works. You're clearly insane. Look at the statistics. I'm begging you, for once in your life, to do your research. And on top of it all,
read something.
The fact that she says that she found it in her study that history is cyclic. Bitch, a 5-year-old knows that. That's the first thing that people tell you, is that fashion is cyclical. History is cyclical. Everything is cyclical. Why don't we learn from our mistakes? Why didn't we this and that? Oh my god, we're back into fascist bullshit. Oh my god, this already happened. This is something that even a fucking idiot outside of academia knows. You don't have to do any research to know that it's cyclical. When I read this, I genuinely thought I was going insane. I thought I was just reading some kind of like, I don't know, this genuinely reads like baby's first thoughts. This was someone's professor. She was making a shit ton of money to teach.
Girl, God bless.
I'm sick of you bitches. I'm sick of you bitches.
Her students probably have to go to like, what do you call it when you get a deprogramming like fucking class? Because
straight up,
I'm concerned for what she has taught them. Like the shit that she was just spewing out, girl.
Or fucking PTSD treatments, because
yeah,
how are you gonna go about this? Because like I genuinely, whenever I think about this, I'm like, holy fuck. Anyway. This was so ranty. But you guys, you know what? I know your blood is boiling, but girl, don't give up.
Don't give up, girl. Wait, we gotta do...
Don't give up.
Don't forget we should do positive corner.
Oh yeah, the positive corner. Okay, so there's like a couple of things that have been on my laptop for fucking ages because I saved them for this and I didn't bring it up. But me and the girls outside the club trying to figure out what a Honda Civic looks like.
Period.
And it's just like all of the Severance people when they were dressed like fucking Russians.
Dude, literally, there's nothing better than that. Dude, I had such a wholesome moment one time at the club, outside the club. Me and the girlies, we were just like waiting for we were all waiting for our Ubers. And then there was this group of men that just they were like fighting, like literally like fist fighting and stuff, being like, and it was so cringe because they were trying to be like so manly and shit. You stole my Prada merch, like blah, blah, blah. And they're like being so cringe about it. Like their friends were pretending to hold them back even though like they're all wusses and weren't really throwing any punches. And anyways, me and the girls started screaming at them. We're like, just kiss already. Just kiss and make up already. And it was just so wholesome, honestly.
Girl, my laptop is frozen.
Love that.
Okay, so I'm gonna just like tell you verbally while it still records. Another one is this like a bunch of pictures of, you know, childhood erasers, different shapes and whatever. Childhood erasers are proof that you don't have to function properly for people to still value you.
So true.
Also, there's a little video of this guy, and I think I sent it to Peterson already, but this guy with this baby bear.
Oh yeah, that was so fucking cute.
Держаться, а иначе больно будет, упадешь. Держись, 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 держись. Мишки лазят по деревьям за медом. Ну, медведь зачем, понимаешь? Не-не-не, упадешь, вперед. Ой. А там опасность, там укусят.
He's like, oh, climb the tree. You have to learn how to climb trees. Bears climb trees to get their honey. And this little bear is just like, doesn't want to climb anything. He's like trying to like get off or whatever. So he like
keeps sliding down. Fuck, I love it.
The amount of fucking bear videos I have is not normal. Oh, wait, I don't think we joked about this, but someone posted, like, there was, like, this room that had a Trump banner in it, and then there was Taylor Swift on the walls, and, like, Ariana Grande and stuff like that, and people posted it, and they were like, question mark, kind of like, what the fuck is this combination? And someone said Tate McRae's bedroom, and then
yeah, you said that to me. That was so fucking funny. You get by media. The media of the week. Okay.
Okay, Lo Anthony.
Literally, I'm bringing back Lo Anthony. Don't worry, guys. I will turn him back to his true form. Don't worry.
Dude, honestly, someone has to.
So, things I've been enjoying. I've been reading Fashion at the Edge, which is like a fashion, well, like obviously a fashion book, but it's been really entertaining. It's really cool. If you like anti-fashion type styles and 90s designers like Alexander McQueen and a lot of people who do deconstruction, then you'll like that book. It's pretty fun. I've been listening to Elliott Smith a lot. And then I've been watching a lot of movies, like action. This is so random for me, but I've been watching a lot of action movies, like older ones, like kind of 2000s or 90s. And they're not necessarily the worst movies, but they're also not the best movies. So they're kind of campy. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I watched this movie called Collateral with Jamie Foxx, and I don't know why, but that movie was so just like cracked out. I also watched yesterday I watched Insomnia, which is like an old Christopher Nolan movie, and that one was kind of campy too. But yeah, recommend watching silly little movies like that every once in a while. But anyways, that's my media.
Also, everyone get ready because Solgi and Irene are coming back for the first time in 5 years, bitch.
Yep. And
I'm basically getting my assistant. I'm forcing her to watch things like teasers and stuff.
I'm already a stan of Solgi, so I'm expecting good things about this.
The teaser looks good. It's on my desktop, bitch. Yeah.
It do be eating up, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
It's looking right up my alley, at least aesthetically.
Anyway, thank you for listening. This was a long one. It's probably gonna be like an hour or something. But I had to bitch and moan and whatever. Like, yeah.
We needed that.
What did you think this is?
We needed that.
If you would have had to read those fucking quotes, bitch, you would wanna say a few words as well. Anyway,
I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
I hope you're having a good day.
And a good week.
We will see you next week. Oh, and we will see you earlier if you are on Patreon because my assistant is getting on the editing action.
Oh, yes. My assistant is now the Patreon editor, so we will be singing some memes for sure.
Yeah. And mayhaps, may chance, we'll see you more often there.
Bye.
Bye.